Hello and welcome again to another episode of 100% Orange Juice. It's been a while since we've done one of these, and the game is now on patch 1.3.2. The major gameplay changes for this patch are a nerf to Kai and a buff to Fernet. So we're gonna see those once we get into our game here. So where we left off last time, we beat Kai's final episode with relative ease, I might add. Perhaps indicative of the necessary nerfs for Kai. But let's just go to Mysterious Space Odyssey, which is Kai's extra scenario. So, like I said, we'll be playing as Fernet because I believe she's the only character we haven't been playing with so far. And it'll be a good chance to show off her buff. So, how I like to build Fernet is essentially stock up on all these healing cards like Pudding, Dinner, put in Holy Knights for passive star gain, and then one reverse attribute field. So to get out of a sticky situation, since you can turn your -2 evasion into a +2 evasion, and your -1 attack into a +1 attack. So the buff to Fernet is that before there was really no reason to use her airstrike hypercard, since not only was it reliant on random numbers, but also you got no benefit from it really, except perhaps denying your opponent kills. Now, the text says every unit except your own receives 1 to 3 damage, gains 15 stars on every KO. So there's actually a reason to use this now, since while it does cost 30 stars to use, for every KO you get 15 stars back. So if you KO 2 other players, it pays for itself, and if you KO 3 players with it, then you profit from using it. So I believe that with this buff to Fernet, in my personal opinion, she'll become a top tier character, but she's not really that popular of a character. So consensus data right now shows not a very high win rate, but I believe that's merely because of the lack of players. Whereas Maripopo has, I believe, the highest win rate, and Maripopo was a very popular character due to her hypercard. But let's just go into our game. And also, you'll see the nerf to Kai here, because our opponents are 2 Maripopos and Kai. The nerf to Kai is simply his base HP is now 4 health instead of 5. And what this does is, it turns him into, it resets him to a default distribution, because before he had 5 HP and 1 attack with no other detriments. So that was essentially a +1 in overall stats. And I mentioned before that Kai patch 1.3.2 was just QP with 1 extra attack. Okay. So there's a few more things I want to talk about before I start narrating the goings of the game, but not much is going on in terms of the game so far. Blue Maripopo did get taken out by a seagull. Kai landed on a lollipop. So, yeah, this is mainly what I want to talk about is a balance changes, because Filibuster, which is one of the developers of the game, posted a state of the game, I guess thread on the Steam forums, and it really shows that the developers really care about the game and want to achieve a form of balance, because we're gonna pass by this to get the double stars. But yeah, I think the main contenders for potential nerfs for the future are Sora and perhaps Hime. But this is just from my personal experience. I believe Sora is is in need of a nerf just because her extraordinary specs hypercard gives her too much consistency. And I think he may needs a nerf too, since I don't know why, it's probably an observer bias, but I win a lot of games playing as Hime, both against CPUs and, well, against CPUs, go away, both against CPUs and other players. And I found my highest win rate characters were Fernet, followed by Hime, followed by Mary Popo. And you can see the trend of well, Hime is technically a fighter character, but her +1 evasion allows her to also play the farm game. And combined with the binding chain, you can do some very nasty things with it. And but the main contender of nerf is Sora, because again, extraordinary specs is just too good. Whereas you have characters such as Suguri and Yuki are very luck reliant, not only in terms of their stats, but also in terms of their hypercard. And those two characters are very combat reliant. We will stop at home. Then go for defeat 2 of my enemies, because we already have that. I still think combat is very underrated in this game. Because, say, most of the stages that aren't Battlefield, you have a much greater chance of success by just playing the farm game. Since, if you play properly, there's not much fighter can do, unless they get lucky enough to roll high enough numbers that they can chase you. For a stage such as this one, like Space Wanderer, not the special Space Wanderer, but regular Space Wanderer with just a random warp, characters like Mary Popo and Fernet are really top tier because you can just circle around your lollipop while farming, and every 5 turns everyone gets warped away, so anyone who tries to pursue you will have a really hard time trying to get the wins they need. This coupled with the fact that stages like this only have 4 combat panels, just makes going for stars unviable even on a combat character. Oh, excuse me, going for wins unviable even on combat character. So these are just my thoughts on the current state of the game. And there's one more thing to mention. You can now buy the boss characters, although it requires like level 30, 35, and 40, and a ridiculous amount of stars to actually buy them. And I've bought the boss manager on my main account, since my main account is level 30. But levels are shared between accounts, so that's irrelevant. The boss manager has 6 health and 2 attack and 0 on everything else. And you might think, oh, that's pretty OP. But the boss characters have a unique playstyle because they have 3 detriments that make them balanced, so they're not Tomomo tier. First, they don't gain any stars on the bonus panels. Second, they can't use cards. So, deck building becomes really interesting because at that point you're just building to put cards in that you don't really want your opponent to use against you. And then the last thing is every time they have to discard a card, they take 2 damage. I'm not sure if this is just based on hand size limit or if effects such as bad pudding also trigger that passive to take 2 damage. As it is, I don't see playing the boss characters viable in any way. I think they're like the critters, and they're not meant to be competitive in any sense. Just a fun character to play with once in a while. Although I think the boss characters, at least the boss manager, might do really well on Battlefield stages because of its +2 attack and 6 health. But that's just my 2 cents. Once I get enough levels and stars to buy the castle and the castle and the robot, I'll talk about those. But if I were to guess, I would say they're probably all just 6 health and +2 on defense and or evasion. You know, to antithesize the boss manager, and will probably share the same passives that are very detrimental. But I don't think that'll be for a while because I'm only level 30, and it's probably gonna take a while to actually level up to level 40. Since I do have friends to play with, play online with, and that's my main source of gaining levels. Because you can't level up if you play alone, and it's really hard to find a lobby with other people to play with in the times that I actually have time to play this game. Since you've noticed that there's been at least like a 5-day gap between episode, I think 35 and this one's 36, or I don't even remember. But, yeah. And, I've been talking a whole lot about not the game, but there isn't really much to talk about in terms of this game because, well, the stage is just Space Wanderer, and it just has 3 additional effects. You're used to random warp because if you play online or alone, you start with the Space Wanderer stage. So the other effects are Mind Layer, Miracle, Regeneration, and these effects just pretty much cement farming characters top tier, at least in terms of this particular iteration of Space Wanderer. In normal Space Wanderer, farm characters are still top tier, but at least the fighters had a chance. At least it was viable for the fighters, I should say, to go for combat with, because you could chase down the what do I want to say? You can chase down the farmer, yeah. No. Yeah, granted, this was like a 8-minute aside about state of the game balance, but if you really want me to talk about the current game, we're at level 5 and 205 stars, and we just rolled a 6, so we won. And you can see, I didn't really show off the Fernet's potential, mainly because a good counter to Fernet are evasion characters and Mary Popo. And Fernet doesn't really do well against Mary Popo in general, because Mary Popo can just use Ubiquitous to steal from you. And since you have -1 attack, probably gonna do 1 attack of damage most of the time. And since Mary Popo has 1 more health than you, if you both just exchange ones while attacking, then Mary Popo is gonna win out in the end. Granted, you do have Airstrike to perhaps get a victory when Mary Popo is at 2 or 3 health, but unless Mary Popo is at 1 health, it's not a guaranteed KO. So I didn't really actually talk much about playing the game, but consider this just an aside episode. There wasn't much to discuss on Mysterious Space Odyssey. I just wanted to get the game balance changes over with. So until next time, where we'll do Tomomo Hell. Thanks for watching. Castella out.